Your people will rebuild the ancient ruins and will raise up the age-old foundations. You will be called repairer of broken walls, restorer of streets with dwellings. Isaiah 58:12, NIV. Welcome to Outreach Connection, focusing on topics and issues that reach our communities with the love and power of Jesus Christ.
And don't turn your dial and don't you halt. I'm still Dr. Peppers shaking the salt. The difference is a new shirt I found. I'm playing ball and I'm upward bound. Woo! How was that?
That was good. Thank you.
I have with me one that fits the title very well because I'm thinking you can throw the ball far and you can throw it low, right?
Right.
Farlow,
right.
Mickey Farlow, pastor at Calvary Baptist. Tell everybody where that is.
1825 State Street here in Quincy.
1825 State Street. Now, I know that as soon as we do this, everybody's going to say, what's this gimmick with why the basketball? Why the basketball? You know, I'm thinking how Jesus would always go into where the people were. And, you know, he would eat with the sinners. He didn't sin with them. He would go in where they were having, you know, festivities. He would go to the temple. He would go to the marriage celebrations. You want to reach kids specifically. And we're going to talk about upward basketball because it is nationwide, even in other, 40 other nations?
40 other countries.
And we're going to show some pictures too. But first, I like to hear the story of the man behind the program. So we want to know your credentials. You've already told us now that you're really good at basketball. You were the star for the Celtics, was that it? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Where were you born and raised?
I was born here in Quincy, Illinois,
Good.
Blessing Hospital. I grew up on a farm 3 miles northwest of Camp Point. And when I was just 3 years old, my mom and dad started coming to Calvary Baptist Church here in Quincy.
Wow.
And when I was 6 years old, that's when I heard the gospel. I heard it before that, but that's when I understood it and understood that I was a sinner and that the wages of sin is death, and I deserved hell for my sin. And I can remember in that Sunday school class there was a fear that came over me because I knew I was a sinner and I didn't want to go to hell. And my Sunday school teacher just shared with me John 3:16, that God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. And in that classroom, I remember the room and the table and the chair that I was sitting on, and I prayed to receive Christ. When I did that, just the peace came over me, and I remembered I wanted to go tell my mom and dad, but they said I had to wait until the church service was over before I could do that.
Love it. Isn't that sweet?
So that was exciting to get saved there.
Well, and explain to folks too, because you do deal with little ones, but there are people watching, maybe your child or grandchild has come to you and you're thinking, oh, 4, 5, and 6, that's too young to understand. We make it complicated, don't we?
Right. The Bible says it's as simple that a little child can understand it. You just have to have the faith of a little child. And as soon as they understand right from wrong, they can understand that God loves them and Christ died for them.
And when we look at statistics, the younger they are, the sooner and the better their odds are at really finding.
And that's why my interest is in children's ministry.
Yes.
And that's why we wanted to do upward basketball, because it's for kids from 1st grade through 6th grade, boys and girls.
Okay, I know we're easing into that, but first, you met a beautiful lady, you've gotten married, have a family, and we want to hear all about that too.
Okay. My wife should be here to tell that, but
I wish she were.
I can give the short version.
Okay.
Yes, I met my wife. Her dad was actually the pastor at Columbus Road Baptist Church here in Quincy. We met in high school, and we dated from then on, and I'm glad to say she's the only girl I ever dated, which was nice.
Lord, that is wonderful.
And after I graduated from Bible college, we got married, and I ended up continuing to farm for 3 years after that before I went into the ministry.
Were you resisting, or you just wanted to save your money?
No, I wasn't resisting. I just didn't feel called yet.
Okay.
But it was interesting. I went to Bible college even though I planned to be a farmer, because I felt that serving the Lord was the most important thing, and I wanted to know as much Bible as I could to be the best lay person I could in the church.
Well, you know, you could have been a 4-H or, you know, one of the ag teachers, and that could have been your call. You could have, you know, helped out with any of the Christian-led activities, but God already had those plans, those Jeremiah 29 plans right in, and He knew even when you didn't that you'd been called. I love that. So this wasn't where you went first?
No, I pastored in Iowa, Michigan, and Ohio, And in Ohio is when I first learned of upward basketball. We ran that for 4 years there. And then when I came to Quincy, I saw this beautiful gymnasium.
I love it.
And it wasn't being used most of the week. And I just thought, this is something that we should share with the community. And so I introduced upward basketball 6 years ago. This will be our 7th year that we have done it.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about this and why, and this is open, by the way, to anybody. I mean, hopefully there will be children that get involved that don't even know about Jesus, besides those that are already strong in the Lord. And so we're going to let you see some of this in action, but tell us anything you would like that folks need to know about it while we see the picture.
I mentioned it is for boys and girls, grades 1st through 6th grade. And they need to register by October 23rd for the early registration, which is $60. The late registration is $70, and the last day for that is October 29th.
Okay.
And the reason we have to do the registration early is because on October 29th we have what we call evaluations.
Okay.
And it is not a tryout because every kid gets to play. But Kaz McCaslin is the one that started this years ago, and he wants to have an even playing field with the kids. And it's not really about competition. It's providing a fun time, a time that builds character and self-esteem. So when they come to the evaluations, there's 6 different stations that they go to, and we just try to determine what abilities they have.
And their age level, too.
And their age levels and their height and that kind of thing. And Upward Basketball sends us a software program. We enter all this information.
Oh, my goodness.
When all the kids are entered, and last year we had over 100 kids, we press a button, and it drafts the teams to make the teams as easy as possible.
Wow!
Not only does it make the teams even, but one of the key things about Upward Basketball, every kid gets the same amount of playing time. Because the goal is not winning or losing, it's every kid gets to participate.
Yes.
So what they do is they have 6 6-minute quarters. Now that threw me off because I'm used to 4 quarters.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to get.
So what you do is you put 5 kids in. At the end of the 6 minutes, then you switch. And you substitute, and however many guys you have on the bench, then they go in, and then those kids go out, and every 6 minutes you rotate. And then here's the exciting thing, it's also rotated, so every kid gets to start the same number of games.
Ah, that's almost, now when they started this, they didn't have that computerology to use.
I don't know, they've been doing this now for like 25 years, and I've only been doing it about 10, so I don't know when that
Did it
came
start,
in there.
you had it always? Being able to put the names in like that in the computers?
Yes.
Okay, so at least for 10 years they've had that.
But here's the thing that is fun. You know, think about starting a game. We don't think it's that important, but they do. And when we tell them they're going to start, we tell them at practice, they tell mom and dad and grandpa and grandma.
Of course.
But here's the other thing that we do too. We announce the teams like they do with the Chicago Bulls.
Oh,
you know how they get the music going like that? And we've got an announcer, and then we'll say, and we'll give the team's name, we'll give the kid's name, and then his number, and he'll come running in, and then we have them high-fiving.
Because these are kids that maybe in school have never been outstanding, never even get to play, sit on the bench, or...
And it makes, we have kids out there that don't understand. Well, you think of a first grader with basketball, if you haven't, I mean, what first grader has played when you got 10 people on the court? They don't even know what to do.
No.
So the first couple weeks, you know, they don't really know what's happening, but they catch on pretty quickly, and it's a lot of fun.
And they are having fun as we're looking at pictures as they're zipping by too. I noticed in the posed shot, some of them had 4 or 5 in there. Is that, how do you determine the team shots? Or they have to have at least 5?
Well,
preferably more.
Yeah, sometimes we play 4-on-4 if we need to.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But see, that was the time of picture day, and they're not always there at picture day, so the whole team may not have been there.
Okay.
You know, that particular time.
Look at them just having a ball. No pun intended, but they really are. And I know that as we're seeing this, it looks like the stands are pretty full too. You get the parents to turn out this way, don't you?
Oh yeah, because we'll have 100-some kids there on a Saturday, and then you think 2 parents, that's 200, two grandparents or four grandparents. We could have between 800 and 1,000 people.
That is just wonderful.
And then the exciting thing that we do with that too, during the practice, there's a 1-hour practice during the week, and during that practice, there's a time in the middle where we have scripture memory things that they can do, and we've got cards, and these are our cards, and it has a verse, you know, that they have to learn for the next practice, and then they get a star for that.
Oh,
and then it has a basketball drill on the back. And every practice that they come to, they get stars.
That is
and
great.
What happens here, when they pay the $60, there's several things they get. One is they get the shirt, the jersey.
And that's what I was just holding
have.
up here, yes.
And then along with that jersey, there's like a T-shirt that goes underneath that.
What color is it?
It's just white.
White for the, and then the blue.
It goes with that. And then every year it's a different color shirt.
And they get these. They get to keep these.
Yes, yes.
Can they wear them the next year?
No,
if they don't wear them, no, they're different colors
each year.
each year.
It's new colors, but kids wear them at school.
Of course. What an advertisement.
Yeah.
That's
and they'll
awesome.
wear the T-shirt, but then what happens with the T-shirt, they get stars, and the stars are based upon different characteristics. Like the blue star is if they had good effort at practice. The yellow star, good sportsmanship. The gray star is if they did well on offense.
And who
points.
determines that?
The coach does that.
Good.
They do that at practice. They get the star, and then they get to put it right on their T-shirt.
And it sticks.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then on game day, it's the same thing. So they get those awards.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Because actually with that $60, they get the jersey, they get the shirt, they get a player's book. And in the player's book, it talks about different aspects of basketball for them to practice on.
I bet
Plus it has the memory verse in there.
Yeah.
And they get the stars, of course. And then there's 9 practices. There are 8 games that go with that. And then at the end of the year, because see, here's the important thing about upward basketball. It's the philosophy. It's not about competition.
Right.
And it is about helping them to have a fun environment.
Yes.
In fact, Barna Research did this, and Kaz McCaslin read this, and it's interesting.
The founder of this.
Yes. Yeah. He found things that children dislike about sports. And one of the main things they dislike about sports is the way their parents react when they watch them play. And here's some statistics. As a result of how parents maybe times react in the stands, 75% of all children who play a sport drop out by the time they're 13.
Because they're embarrassed.
They're embarrassed.
Oh,
they don't
parents,
like it.
please.
37% of children wish no parents watched them play.
Wow.
41% of children say they've awakened in the middle of the night worrying about a game. 33% of children say they've played hurt or sick because they thought they had to. Here's an interesting one. 69% of children indicated that they prefer a coach that puts more priority on fun than winning.
Yay!
Yeah. And 71% of children said it wouldn't matter if there were no score kept in the game.
And that's the way it should be.
And
I know that there's a whole lot of debate about this in the public schools, and they're just saying let's all get along and all play. But this is what are the statistics when they're doing something that's more fun and their parents love it?
They enjoy it.
Well, yeah.
And that's why parents sign up for this. That's why it's different than anything else. And I wouldn't do it if it was just a competitive basketball thing.
Right.
And there's a place for that. When they get up into junior high and high school on, you can do that. But it's the formative years when they're young, and you want to encourage them and just have fun, because by the time they hit junior high, most of these kids know who can play and who can't. But this is the fun thing that they do.
And they'll always have that memory that they did well and they had the spotlight and that mom and dad were applauding.
And Kaz McCaslin was a good basketball player himself.
Is he still living?
He's still living.
Yeah.
He's a great speaker. They've got conferences to go to, and he encourages people to do this. But even though he was very competitive and very successful in college and played a little bit of pro basketball, when he got done, he thought, what's it worth? What's the important thing? And he saw these statistics, and he wanted to have a program that would reach out to kids so that it would be fun.
That's wonderful.
And that's what parents tell us, is that these kids are having fun. In fact, I love this story. A couple years ago, a parent told me that her son woke up that morning on Saturday morning and he was sick. And she said, you can't go play upward basketball. He says, I want to go. You can't go. You're sick. Could I go for the introductions? Okay. And she thought about it and said, okay. So he dressed up and he went there. We announced his name. He ran through there, high-fived everybody, and went back to mom, and they went home.
Oh, that is so cute.
They just enjoy it.
I think that's proof in the pudding right there.
Yeah.
And the other thing, of course, they make friends, such camaraderie, and they're introduced to the concept, hopefully we adults have it too, that church, Christianity should not be the sour faces and sitting in the people. We should enjoy merry heart doeth good like medicine. Huh?
And one thing that Kaz McCaslin focuses on, it's kind of the main theme, every child is a winner.
That's good.
He says we are a winner whether you ever play basketball or sports, because you're made in the image of God and you're special in the image of God. And so he focuses on how important that is. And then we try to emphasize, too, what winning is.
Yeah.
Winning is not whether you win in a game. Winning is if you're learning more about the Lord and you're growing closer to Him. That's what winning is. And that's why for first and second grade, we don't keep score.
That's perfect.
It doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't to them anyway.
No. And then the other grades, we keep score. You know, it's just kind of a mark. But what I like, too, is when we have the referees that are there, they're really the coaches.
Yeah.
Because when you call a traveling, can you imagine calling traveling on a first grader? And they have no idea what that is.
I didn't even have a suitcase.
Yeah, yeah. And so then the coach stops, he gathers them all together, he gets down on one knee, and he says, does anybody know why I blew the whistle?
Oh,
and they don't know. So he explains it. So you're not pulling out one person. Can you imagine a first grader, you blow the whistle and said, you traveled, and you take the ball away? They'll start crying.
Right.
But you explain it to them, and again, like I said, the first couple weeks, they're not sure what's going on, but it's amazing. After like the third, fourth, fifth week, they're starting to catch on. But that way, there's no pressure. Nobody's taken out of a game because it's just substitutions.
Yeah, no fouls. No.
And then what's interesting, even with the older kids, we keep score, and at the end of one of the games, it was tied. When the horn blew, it was tied, and they're getting ready to go into overtime, and I go, no, it's over.
That's it. You
it's
tied.
over. Yeah.
I love it.
We don't care.
It. Oh, what a great philosophy we can apply to life, which is what you're really teaching, life skills.
Here's something interesting. Sometimes if you ask the parents, or you have to ask the kids, you know, you say to the boys and girls, tell me something you want. What do you think they would say if you would say to kids, what would you like?
Money, candy.
Yeah, and they'd want a puppy, video games, bicycle, basketball. That's what kids want if you say, what do you want? But now if you turn around and you ask the parents, what do you want for your children? Now, they think a little bit, but it's not candy and a bicycle and a puppy. What they want for their children is they want honesty, integrity, character, confidence, a good work ethic.
That's right.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
So when we look at what do we want these things, but what do parents want?
That's good.
They want these things that are important,
Yes.
and that's what Upward Basketball focuses on. It's teaching those kinds of things.
And it's teaching them in a way that the kids don't even know they're learning it sometimes. They're just getting it.
Right, right. But it gives you that avenue through something that is fun.
Absolutely.
So they're learning how to get along with people. They're learning how to respond the right way. And the coaches are all coaches from our church, and they're good role models and examples.
That's great.
And the moment that we become parents, we realize it's not stuff that we want for children. What we want for them is things that can't be touched. It's the intangible things that only God can give us.
And that's why even in the public schools, they're teaching character education.
Yeah.
And as a retired public school teacher, I know that for those of you that are saying, well, I want my children to be able to pray in school like when I was a child, and I wish we could still have the 10 Commandments. And we can wish and wish and wish, but you know, until America really goes back to its roots, we're not going to have that. So why not, those of you watching, why not get your children, your grandchildren, your neighborhood kids, your own church kids? If you don't have this at your church, why not get them involved? And we've been showing pictures and telling, but we want to make sure they know how they can sign up too. What do they need to do?
Call the church at 222-4412.
Okay.
And we can give you a brochure. You can stop by. We can mail it to you.
Sure.
They've actually put them in the public schools.
I love
We've taken 3,000 of those brochures. They're just brochures like this that tell all about the program. It has everything that it's involved in there. And this is actually what they bring on evaluation night, because as they go through it, there's the lane shooting, defensive slide, right side shot, right hand dribble, and we put different numbers in there depending on how they do. We enter all this, and that's what goes into the computer program. And we hit the button, and it drafts the teams, and it just makes it so fun.
Because some kids maybe have an app for it. They may, you know, but they've never learned about it.
Right. But then the teams are balanced. So you have some that are good and some that aren't as good. And then we kind of line them up accordingly that way when they play. And then also what we do, since every child is a winner, at the games, they've got these stars, and I talked about those stars earlier. But then at the end of the program, when it's all done, we have what we call an Upwards Award celebration.
I have been to one of those.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
And at that, we just have someone that comes in that just has fun. We've had magicians, we've had basketball players, Tanya Crivier. She's been to NBA games and stuff like that.
Wow.
And they do just kind of a fun, interactive thing with the kids. They share the gospel at the same time.
Yes.
And then at the end, we don't, for the awards, because it is an award celebration, we don't give most valuable player and all that kind of stuff. Every kid gets the same award because every kid is a winner.
I love
Now,
that.
we don't even know what the award is because Upward Basketball does the same thing for everybody and it has to be a surprise. But I brought some of the things. Okay, this is one thing that every kid got. It's just a lunchbox.
Perfect.
But notice how that works. It comes up like this, and you can make it big like that, or you can put it down in and make it small. And then one year, every kid got a basketball.
Oh, you know they went crazy with that.
Yeah. Now, what we learned one year is we had them all blown up, and we gave them away. Well, then they started bouncing around the church.
No.
So a couple years later, they did it again. We gave it to them flat.
Yeah,
so we
good
didn't have any
idea.
problem.
Good idea.
And then one year, they got a backpack.
Nice.
Look at that. I mean, these are just wonderful backpacks.
Yeah.
One year, it was a duffel bag. So the end of the year awards.
It's always something nice, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're always really nice, and Upward does it. We don't choose that.
Right.
But that's what we say at the very end. We say, okay, now, you've been playing Upward basketball all year. Every child is a winner. And so tonight, we're going to give an award to every child, and the award is going to be the same because every child is a winner.
That is great. Kind of like on Oprah when everybody gets a car. Okay, we won't use that analogy.
Yeah, that's good. But anyway, also, it's interesting. Another thing when you think about basketball and you think about the parents in the stands, sometimes parents can be critical, the coaches can be critical, and one of the things that Kaz McCaslin has us teach, because we follow the program, you know, that they have, it's called the circle of praise or the circle of criticism.
Oh, you teach the parents?
We teach the parents.
Whoa.
In fact, what we do at every game, at halftime, the kids go out to get a drink, and then I give an 8-minute talk to the parents. And when I do that 8-minute talk, I teach the philosophy of Upward basketball. I read these statistics of what kids think about their parents. I talk about what is it that you want. Is it things that you want for kids? What is it you want for your kids? So I go through those things and help them to understand what we're doing. And then you talk about the circle of praise or the circle of criticism. You know that if you're at a basketball game and the coach doesn't like what the ref says, sometimes they'll jump up and they'll yell at the coach, bad call.
Right.
As soon as you do that, the players will go, yeah, bad call. The fans will do the same thing. See how the circle goes? You say something negative, it just goes.
Sure does.
But if you say something positive, then it encourages everybody else to speak positively, and that's what the Lord wants us to do.
Yes.
So we use basketball as that tool.
Love that. What a
to
great
teach
tool.
all of those kinds of things.
What a good principle with that.
Oh, yeah. I was reading about Billy Graham one time, and also with sports. It's an opportunity, what Billy Graham says, it's one of the last places where there's immediate discipline for doing something wrong.
Oh, I love it.
Okay? Now, we don't punish them, but you do take the ball away. I guess that could be punishment, but you're teaching them when you do something wrong, you take it away. Here's an interesting thing. Sometimes parents will say, okay, with these first and second graders, how strict are you in calling fouls and traveling and different things like that? And the program says you call everything. Because if you don't, you're not consistent and the kids won't learn.
Yes.
So in the first couple games, these first and second graders don't get to play a lot because the referee is down there saying, okay, now you traveled. Do you know what that is? Now we've got to take the ball and put it over here.
Yes.
But it's teaching them the discipline. And even Billy Graham said, that's good.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times in school, if a kid does something wrong, well, then you have to send a note home to the parents, and then you've got to meet, and it's a couple weeks before that takes place. So that is really a good thing.
Well, and in school, too, they teach the rules before they give any consequences. So that's what this first couple of times is teaching, the rules and the consequences.
Yeah. But just to kind of review again just a little bit, please call us right away. There's only 2 more weeks to save the $10 and to get it for $60. And so call the church at 222-4412. You can get the application to fill out. We can mail it to you. You can come there, but do it quickly, you know, as soon as you can, so that we can get you in there. And then also with that $60, part of that fee goes to Upward Basketball because they furnish the software program for us.
Right.
They provide the end of the year thing and that kind of thing. And then, of course, the kids get a good deal, too, because they get these things.
Right,
you know, they get to keep most of this, which is really good. And they get that teaching, they get that training. But also then there's a coach's book each of the coaches have. And with that coach's book, it tells the coaches what basketball drills to use.
Oh, I see.
Because at the practice, they're working on the fundamentals.
Sure.
Because that's what you're doing with the kids is the fundamentals. And not every coach is a good basketball player.
Okay.
My wife was even a coach one year, and she signed up to be a coach, and I said, why do you do that? You don't even like basketball. She says, I like kids.
I love it. That is perfect, yes.
The best coach is the encourager. Now, we got our assistant coach who knew a little bit something about basketball.
Well, that's all right. She learned it too, didn't she?
But remember, the kids want a coach who's more interested about having fun.
That's right.
So she was a favorite coach.
Yes,
that went with
that's
that.
great.
So it's a great thing. They learn the fundamentals, their special awards, and as I already mentioned, their name gets announced at the beginning of the game, and they just have fun.
It's ages
first grade through sixth grade,
okay.
Boys and girls. So the boys and girls play separately, and first and second grade are on the same team, third and fourth and fifth and sixth.
I see.
When we play, so it is a lot of fun.
And if a child is less, maybe has less aptitude or less skill, but also doesn't know much about the game, and they're in fifth grade and maybe they're smaller, would they still be on the fifth and sixth grade? They would just be easier on them at first.
They're still in fifth and sixth, but see, with that software program, they even the teams out.
I see. So there'd be somebody somewhere on the other.
And then what they do is, like when you're guarding them, you'll have one kid guarding another team, and they wear wristbands the same color, like it'll be blue. So they don't have to remember the kid's number. They just look at their wristband and look at that wristband, and then they play that way, which makes it really even.
I wish I'd had it when I was in school. It sounds fun. Did any of your kids, grandkids, do it?
All of them.
All of them.
In fact, I've got my one girl just finished. She's gone from first through sixth grade. She's a seventh grader this year, so she can't play, but she's going to be an assistant coach.
Yay!
Isn't that fun?
You're raising them up right.
Yeah,
That's
she's doing that. So it is really fun to watch it. It's a wonderful program, and the parents love it.
Of course.
Because they see when their kids leave, they're excited and they have fun. And they're not asking how many points did you score or anything like that. Just have fun.
Have you ever had anybody that's complained that it's too religious, but it's not religious?
Well, they know that up front.
Up front, so there's
all of the material that is there. And, you know, they see that in the verses that are there, and they see how it all fits together.
That is wonderful. We've got less than a minute, but I want to make sure we get, is there anything that we missed that we need to get in?
It's just sign up right away.
Right away.
It is a good program.
Let's give the phone number again, too.
Yeah, it's 222-4412, Calvary Baptist Church, 1825 State Street.
There it is.
And our focus is not on competition. Our focus is for the kids to have fun.
Wow.
They don't have to have any experience playing basketball. Come, they're going to learn some of the basic fundamentals, and they're going to have fun. It's a good thing to do in January and February. You can't get out of the house. You get to come to a heated gymnasium and just have a lot of fun.
And your kids will love you for it, and you'll learn how to really praise them, and a lot of routine and consequences to take back home and use as well.
Right.
Thank you so much for being with me, Pastor. And for those of you that didn't get the address, you can call us here at the station, but do it now. I'm Dr. Peppers, shaking the salt.
You've been watching Outreach Connection. If you would like to contact this ministry, you may write Outreach Connection, care of CTN, WTJR, 222 North 6th Street, Quincy, Illinois, 62301.
WTJR, licensed to Quincy, Illinois, maintains a public file for public inspection at our studio at 222 North 6th Street in Quincy, Illinois. Hours of our studio location, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and 9 a.m. to noon on Friday.